Good morning, everyone. Today is Israel's Independence Day, Yom Ha'atzmaut. And this year is a year that it's not as joyous because as we are celebrating this day, there are still 134 of our brothers and sisters in captivity as hostages. And the nation is still grieving from the tragedy of October 7th. But furthermore, we have to question the meaning of the word Independence Day, because we see today that Israel is not necessarily so independent. We are dependent, as we see that our war is being hindered and held back by dictates given from the United States of America and other countries, telling us that we don't have a right to defend ourselves, to protect our brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters. So what is the deeper meaning of Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel's Independence Day? So the word Atzmaut comes from the root word etzem, which means the bone, the essence. And it takes us back to a famous prophecy in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, known as the prophecy of the dry bones, etzem, where God shows Ezekiel a valley of dry bones and says, can these bones live again? And suddenly the bones start attaching themselves one to another, and they start to grow sinews and flesh, and they stand up an entire nation. And God says, these bones are the nation of Israel. The world will say, your hope is lost, you're cut off. And suddenly I will open your graves, and you will rise up and go back to the land of Israel. And this is a prophecy we saw after the Holocaust, the piles of dry bones. And the world said, the Jewish people are gone forever. We're history. We can never come back from such a tragedy. And sure enough, 3 years later, we came back to the land of Israel. But I want to share with you an amazing prophecy in the Torah that Rabbi Benjamin Blech points out. You know, the year that Israel was established, 1948, on the Hebrew calendar was the year 5708. And Rabbi Blech points out that if you count the verses in the Torah, the 5708th verse in the Torah, the year that Israel was established, is the following verse. V'shav Hashem Elokecha et shavutcha. It's in Deuteronomy chapter, the parsha, the Torah portion of Nitzavim. God will return your captives, and He will have mercy upon you. V'richamecha. V'shav Hashem Elokecha, and God will return those of you who are scattered to the corners of the earth and all the nations that God has scattered you to in exile, and He will return you to the land of Israel. The year that Israel was established corresponds to the verse that is God's promise that after almost 2,000 years of exile, God will have mercy and return you to the land of Israel. And that was fulfilled in our day. And that's the miracle of 1948. But we have to remember that Israel was not established in 1948, because now on college campuses and around the world we're being accused of being colonizers, that we came and took a land from another people. But we have to remember that there's a different 1948. The original 1948 is 1948, the year of 1948 from creation of the world, which was the year that Abraham was born in 1948 from creation, and God told him, Lech lecha, go to the land of Israel. And God said, this land I shall give to your descendants. The land of Israel is ours, not for 76 years today, but for 3,700 years from the day God told Abraham, this land is for your descendants, from the time that Moses led the Jewish people to the promised land, from the time that Joshua entered into the land of Israel with the Jewish people. That is our ancestral homeland. And God only returned us there in 5708, as the verse said, after He scattered us all over the world. We were able to come back from exile after 1900 years in a miraculous way. What's tragic is that as we read this verse, that God will bring us back from our captivity. The verse says captivity, referring to the Jewish people in exile. But today, here we are in 2024, and once again, Jews are in literal captivity. And not around the world, but in Gaza, right just a few miles away from Israel, in deep, dark tunnels, being held in the cruelest captivity as hostages. And we pray that this verse that was fulfilled in 1948, that God had mercy upon us and returned our captives from captivity, will once again be fulfilled this year, that all of those in captivity will come home. This Thursday, we in Palm Beach will be welcoming 4 families from Kibbutz Be'eri who are dispersed throughout the land of Israel because their kibbutz was destroyed on October 7th. These families have been displaced for over 7 months now. And so our community is inviting them to come and get some rest, to get a little bit of distance, to relax from all the tension and disbursement that they've been experiencing for 7 months. And I'm so proud of our community. Members of our community have organized this trip and hosting these families with their children, and they will be with us on Shabbat morning as we will celebrate them and embrace them. And I'm watching our community members get ready to welcome these families from Kibbutz Be'eri and planning the most exciting trips for them and barbecues. And one member of our shul is sponsoring a trip for them to Disney World. And another member is planning for them a boat ride, and everyone is so excited. And what's amazing is no one even knows their names. All they know is that they are fellow Jews from Israel who've gone through a very difficult time, and they want to welcome them and embrace them and love them and give them the best experience they can. And there's only one reason why, because no matter how far we are dispersed and displaced in all 4 corners of the earth, we know that all Jews are brothers and sisters. We are one big family. We may not know their names, we may have never met them in our lives, but we know they are our family, and we can't wait to welcome them and embrace them. This is the strength of the Jewish people, our love, our unity. And until every single Jew is back home, all the captives, all the hostages return to their families, until all those in Israel who are displaced are able to go back to their homes, the Jewish people will not rest, because we are one nation with one home. And Am Yisrael Chai, on this day we bless and we pray that everyone should merit